It's Jim. It's Amadeus. It's Tuesday. Tomorrow night, Amadeus, my friend, not far down the street here, there will be an all-star game. The MLS All-Stars taking on Chelsea from the Premier League. And I can't imagine you're as excited as I am about this.
No. First of all, you know how I feel about all-star games in any sport.
I know you love them. Like you remember, you mentioned.
Okay, so let's just take the fact that it's a soccer league out of it, and it's still an all-star game to me. Okay. But I'm very excited for what's happening after the all-star game.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Let's take a quick look at the sizzle reel for tomorrow's game, courtesy of the Major League Soccer.
What a spectacle we have in store for you.
Changed your mind, didn't it?
Oh, how could an epic video like that not change my mind, Jim?
Now you're excited. It's gonna look. It is what it is, right? You got a number of good players on the MLS side taking on Chelsea, and we have no idea who Chelsea's playing, right?
Yeah, what's this Chelsea team that's going to be playing? I'm very curious about that.
I'm trying to find a roster for it. There's got to be a flip card somewhere. I have to check with MLS's public relations department to get. I don't even know who the starting team is for the United States All-Star game at this point. But that being said, we're not going to go nuts on that. But it's going to be interesting. Now, both of us have. Let's see what we got here. We got Rye. Hey, Ryan, it's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, he's complaining about the Apple TV, hates how the games are on Apple TV.
Well, I'm sorry, Ryan. We have nothing to do with that. It is what it is, my friend. Did you, they had an audio glitch in the opening of the situation with Lionel Messi the other day when Messi was being introduced. It had audio problems, which people watching on Apple TV couldn't quite hear what David Beckham was saying, and then couldn't hear what Messi was saying. It was an audio mess. So, look, things happen, right? They're gonna happen. I've been on the side when things are not happening. It's not because you don't want it to. It's just because some gremlin is in the problem there. So it's going to happen. Doesn't matter what network you are, it will happen. But sorry, Rye, that you're, that you got to put up with it, buddy. But you know what? There are worse things in life than having to put up with that. And we'll get your take on that. But first, we saw the video on on the MLS All-Star game, but that's not everything that's going to happen this week. On Thursday they're going to start the Women's World Cup. We'll talk about that too. But here is the first sizzle reel on the Leagues Cup.
Our story begins here. For the first time ever, worlds collide. Liga MX and MLS face off to crown the champion of North America. Who knows what will happen when old enemies add fresh fuel to the fire and new rivalries are forged every day? What new banners will we raise? Who will never forget? Who will want to? This summer, expect the unexpected. The stakes are high, and the time to make history is now.
So, very exciting sizzle reel on that one. Let me get this straight for those of you out there who are not fans are unfortunately being inundated with stupid stuff that people don't know any better. The Inter Miami game against Club Azul is actually does count for something. This is not a friendly. It's not, it's just not another game for people to enjoy. This counts as a game for the tournament, and it's the first game of the tournament. So for those of you out there who have been reading newspapers about where Lionel Messi is going to start in his first game for in Miami, and it's going to be a friendly against the Mexican club, that would be wrong. It's going to be a game which both sides are going to want to win if they want to continue in the in this new tournament. So, and we talked about this. I mean, it's new to both Amadeus and us. It's new to everybody. It's never been done before. So, is it a good thing? Well, we'll find out. But Amadeus, what's your thoughts about it? I mean, I think it's kind of, to me, if you're going to have a tournament and you're going to play clubs in the same hemisphere as you, which is obviously a good thing. I have no problem with the MLS and the Mexican Mexican League getting together and playing a cup tournament like this.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a good thing for sure, and even though it's not centralized, obviously, to the one country, it's more of a North American Cup. This does happen in the Premier League. Like we see all the time, there are Welsh clubs, there are Scottish clubs that play in the lower English leagues because they don't want to play in their own country's league. So that's just, it's up to the club on what league they want to play in. But yeah, absolutely. We see stuff like this all the time with lower division teams and that. So I think it's great just having the two, let's call them premier leagues of North America go at each other. Obviously, Canada's included in there because we have 3 teams in the MLS. It didn't include, our Canadian Premier League, despite not having the 3 best teams in your Premier League. But I'm just going to point that out. But yeah, definitely. I definitely think it's a good thing going forward. It's definitely going to help grow the game, obviously. Especially when it's a competition that connects the Mexican League with the MLS. So that's always good because obviously it's going to generate excitement down in Mexico as well. It's not just going to be for the MLS teams and the MLS fans. It's also going to be for the Liga MX fans. So definitely good. And it's always exciting for teams to, when they have a chance to bring home a piece of silverware. So I can definitely tell you, the Mexican clubs are not going to, lie down and die in this tournament. They don't view it like, we're getting invited to the MLS. No, this is to decide, the kings of North America. And they're going to look at it like, we need to win this competition because we need to show the MLS we are still the better league.
Well, the other thing too, and I think that you brought, we've gone through this many times about the different tournaments within, Europe and how you can be playing in 3 tournaments at one time. In different situations. And I think that is something that is foreign, no pun intended, to soccer fans in the U.S. But with this MLS and Mexican League deal, I mean, theoretically it's possible. You just mentioned it about Canada with the 3 teams there. It would not be surprising in the future that perhaps 2 or 3 Mexican teams are involved in MLS. So, there's always those possibilities, and it's always fun to compete, between countries. And there's a lot of pride in taking home this cup. And more so, I would think, did anyone take Byron at 17? I can't quite see that. I put it up on the screen.
Mine is 17.5. Excuse me.
Who are they playing?
It must be some kind of friendly match because that would be the only thing Bayern Munich is playing around this time. I'm scrolling through the Europe friendlies right now. Are they winning 18-0? Like, I'm curious as to why Rye Cape would say that.
Mine is 17.5. You sure that's a friendly? Is it? Are you sure, Rye, that it's Bayern Munich and it's not an NFL team? I mean, 17.5 is.
Yeah, the NFL over in Germany there.
Yeah, maybe it's an NFL in Germany game. Maybe it's Byron against New England. I
Forgot
don't-
which sport they were playing.
yeah, they decided Ted Lasso is coaching the Byron team.
I can't find it, but he's got me very
Right, who are they
curious.
playing? You said it's a friendly. Who are they playing? You know,
I'm gonna Google it. It's not on.
it's not on TV.
Well, it's not on Bet365. I'm looking for
Oh,
the
okay.
match. It's not being shown on
Friendly.
Bet365. Yeah, I got nothing here. The UEFA Champions League match was their last match. It's showing me.
Maybe it's a not so friendly. If they're up 17-1 or
Yeah,
17, maybe they're playing an inter squad game. I don't know what's
it's a friend. Where are you seeing this, Rick? I would love to know. I want to see it.
I got nothing. I'm sorry, Rye. I don't know who they're playing in 17.5 first half. That's first half points. That's not the game. Holy mackerel. Whoa. They're playing Inter Miami. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do have. They probably do have a basketball team.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's Byron. They've got. I mean, I don't know if it's called Byron Munich though.
Yeah, but there's no basketball being played right now. So
No, not in that league.
very very curious about that.
Oh, wrong date. Okay.
Oh, okay, all right. That
Thanks,
explains.
buddy. Yeah, you're as organized as we are. What's going
I
on?
was so confused trying to find that game.
Hey, Ryan, you're there. Are your Phillies going to make the playoffs? We'll see from that.
Oh, I'm sure he'll tell you yes.
There you go. Going to the bank to watch the Phillies play.
Well, you know what? They were very hot before the All-Star break,
They were.
and they've come out of the break very hot. So it's definitely they're not going to win the division at this point because the Braves are 30 games
Braves,
500, right? But they could definitely get into the wild card because they're
They can do the same
close
thing
to the
they did-
Marlins.
They can do the same thing they did last year. I'm just suspect on their pitching, but there's that. Phillies will make the playoffs. They have a cake schedule. Okay. They probably do. Second half because they played all their tough teams in the first half.
Well, weren't they a team that they didn't play like a division series
Yeah.
for
Vermont.
the first 2 months, right? And now it turns out their division is just terrible. The Mets are bad. The Marlins and the Braves are good, but the Mets are bad.
Yeah, I gotta say, just transitioning just for a moment over to baseball. I gotta say, I watched the Dodgers and the Orioles last night played a really good game, and the Orioles were leading 5-1. Then in the sixth inning, the Dodgers do what the Dodgers do. They scratched out some hits, got on base, got the bases loaded. Bing hits a home run, and they're up 6-4, and they ended up using 3 relief pitchers to end up that way. He thinks they're going to make a run for Giolito, need a starter. Giolito, what's he doing this year? I mean, he had that Cy Young year in the White Sox in Chicago. Lucas Giolito was a very interesting first-round draft choice. He was a first-round draft choice out of high school, California, in the Los Angeles area. And he immediately had Tommy John surgery. And I'm not even sure that he needed it, but he did. He was always somebody that the Nationals had that, every time they brought him up, he had a half an outing that was good, and then boom, everything went bad. They traded him to Detroit, and he blew up there, and everything went well for him. Not to begin with, he lost pretty much every game he pitched the first season. Then he turned around and won the Cy Young, and from that point forward, he's been certainly a serviceable pitcher. I don't know. There's gonna with Lance Lynn. I mean, there's gonna be a bunch of arms that we all know and love that are going to be available. That's an interesting though, right? Lucas Giolito, huh?
Yeah, he's got a 3.45 ERA
Is it?
this year. Obviously, he's with the White Sox, who are just
Sure.
terrible. But he's not great. Like he's not putting up shutout performances.
I know. I think that the key you said what you said he was a
345.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
So
that's
he's
that's
been. I looked at his last few, and he's been giving up about like 2 runs a game. Type
all right. So he's serviceable, and
He's consistent, but consistently giving up 2 runs.
yeah, that's okay. The Phillies can make that back up.
Yeah, they should be able to score 3.
So yeah. So all right. They got Giolito. Wouldn't be a bad pickup if that's what they got.
Rye Cape, I want to hear your Otani trade. Throw it in the chat. I want to hear your Otani trade.
We've traded him 5 times. So go ahead.
Yeah, we've traded him every which way. There isn't a team that he hasn't been on with our trade scenarios.
That's right. Our scenarios have had. We've done what I used to like to call it Jim Bowden. We trade him to everybody.
Yeah, I know Bill came in and said the same thing as you, Rye, that the Rays should make a run for him, but obviously he's not going to sign with the Rays. But as Jim was saying, it would be a good rental for them.
Definitely rental, and they got the. The other thing, the Phillies have a heck of a farm system too. So I mean, the Phillies could make a run at Giolito and probably get him without too much trouble, without giving away too much of the farm. But in the Phillies situation, you wonder, do you want to really give up a lot? They've got a big payroll. Phillies do. And, you're not taking on a lot of cash with Giolito. I don't think. I think that contract's a pretty salvageable one. Actually, it might make. I don't know. I don't think Giolito's a free agent at the end of the season. You might be able to keep him for a while. He likes Houston, trying hard to get Giolito. Otani. Houston, huh? That's
they have shed a lot of pitching over the last year, right?
Yeah.
Garrett Cole left, Verlander left.
Well, and McCullers is injured, so he's not going back.
Luis Garcia's injured too. Yeah, half their lineup, their rotations like JP France, who's a rookie, Hunter Brown, who's like in his 2nd season, and then Framber Valdez and Christian Javier are pretty good.
Their only saving grace is that the Rangers doesn't have isn't that much better at the moment from a pitching standpoint. Maybe. And the other thing is Otani, with the money Houston has, Otani could end up there. I don't know if that's where he wants to end up. But
Houston's kind of west. It's wester.
Western Texas, yeah.
It's wester than most places in the MLB.
I'm not so sure. Otani and Houston, boy, that'd be that would be interesting. That would be very interesting. God love him. I don't know, Ryan. You could be right. The Astros and Otani, huh?
Well, if he wants to win, I mean, the Astros, defending champions. Why not go there?
Look, there's nothing wrong with my guy Dusty. I love Dusty. No question
Dusty's
about
great.
that. But hey, it is. By the way, we're talking about the Orioles and the Dodgers. That is the game tonight on TBS. If you want to watch it nationally, so TBS tonight at 7 o'clock will be the Dodgers and the Orioles in a big series for both. The Orioles trying to stay 1 game behind the Rays, who last night witnessed a walk-off wild pitch, nothing like that, in the 9th inning to the Rangers in a 3-2 loss. So the Orioles and the Orioles and the Rays are 1 game apart in the National League East. And so tonight, big game at Camden Yard between the Dodgers and the Orioles. Let me make it quick, see if I've got some of my pictures yet. Who's in that game tonight? Okay, Grove is on the hill for the Dodgers, and Wells has got the ball for Baltimore. So that's your pitching lineup there.
I kind of like the Orioles in that one, but I don't know. I don't think you can step in front of the Dodgers with the way they're playing right now.
The Dodgers are hitting the ball, which is, and they're playing. I'll tell you what, the Dodgers defense last night I was very impressed with. Seeing they just make plays. Milwaukee's at the bank for you tonight, there, buddy. Ryan, if you happen to want to wander over, Aaron Nola's pitching for your Fighting Phils, and Milwaukee's got Tehran pitching tonight for them. That's a big series for Milwaukee, I would think. They don't need to, they just came off that big weekend in Cincinnati. They don't need to start losing to the Phillies, which would put them back in problems. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Allen for the Guardians, Keller for the Buccos. San Diego up north in Toronto. There's a guy we talked about yesterday, Joel Musgrove, is on the hill for the Padres. If, and this is a big if San Diego isn't in the hunt, that Musgrove would be look good in a Philadelphia Phillies uniform. Manoah on the hill.
You know what? I actually like Musgrove and the Padres tonight, but that's another one where I can't trust the Padres as a team, so I'm not taking them.
So
but that is the way I would lean in that game. But again, the Blue Jays are starting to roll too.
True.
They've been hot in this little homestand, and I think they're going to win tomorrow too, probably. So
look, the Blue Jays are not out of this yet.
They're in third now. The Yankees are now in last in the AL East, and the Red Sox have climbed over them.
Yeah,
so
they're waving. They're waving to everybody. San Francisco, Cincinnati tonight. That's the 7:10 starts. DeStefani on the hill for the G-men, and Weaver gets the ball for the Reds.
2 gas cans.
Yeah, that's it. I would stay away from that one.
Just light the field on fire with those.
Right.
Two.
Okay, now
the total's 11 though.
Really?
Yeah, that's how bad. Even Vegas is thinking gas can scenario here.
I don't think either Weaver or DeStefani's your best bet on the on a 5-inning pitch. Let that one go. The White Sox are at the Mets tonight. Giolito is pitching.
His tryout for the Mets.
His tryout for could be the Mets.
But his tryout for the Mets, right? Every team that the White Sox go to play now, it's going to be his tryout for that team.
Carrasco is pitching for the Mets, talking about a gas can. Arizona, who has Davies on the hill tonight against Elder in Atlanta.
Another gas can, Davies.
Yeah. Miami is in St. Louis. Cabrera is on the hill for your Marlins. Montgomery pitching for St. Louis. Washington is in Chicago. They will have Corbin on the hill. That's another guy who could get big, who could be available to trading. And he has actually pitched pretty well as of late. And so Patrick Corbin could be, moving on out. Where, I don't know, but he could. Talon on the hill for your Cubbies.
Brad Cape makes a very good point in the chat. He says there's a lot of bad pitchers on the mound today, and I agree. It seems like a gas can Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know how it handed that. Yeah, we're gonna get to a couple. We got more coming, right? Don't worry. And Tampa Bay in Texas, you got Bradley on the hill for the Bucks. Evaldi for Texas. Evaldi's actually pitched well for Texas.
He's been their best starter, I think.
Yeah. So Detroit and Kansas City. That's Super Bowl for Detroit. Lynch is on the hill for Kansas City. Houston, not Ohtani yet, at Colorado. Brown and Bird in that game. Yankees and Angels. Jermaine on the hill for Pinstripe Sandoval has got the ball for your Halos. Boston and Oakland. Our favorite pitcher for the Red Sox, TBD, and Medina on the hill for Oakland. And then Seattle and Minnesota. Ober pitching for Minnesota. Seattle has Woo, W-O-O. So that's your lineup for tonight in National Baseball, Major League Baseball. So there you go. There's a lot of bad pitching on the mound today. Yep, no question about that. So he took the Padres. He did, as did you were saying that you were leaning that way.
Yeah, I like the Padres. Didn't take them because I just don't trust the Padres. I like the Orioles. And as Ryan Cape said, everybody's fading Grove today. But again, I stayed off it because I think you can't step in front of the Dodgers right now. And it wouldn't shock me if the Dodgers offense pulls through and destroys the Orioles again today. Because I don't think Wells is that, it's not that sturdy.
Not the shutdown pitcher.
Yeah, exactly.
What impressed me last night by watching the Dodgers were that what Dave Roberts was able to do. And look, I'll be honest with you. I have no idea where some of these pitchers have come from in the bullpen because they've had starting problems and they have had, real issues. And turns out that they brought in a kid last night into the game who they picked up 2 weeks ago. Okay. But there's something about the Dodgers pitching, coaching, and the way that they do it and they made a reference to this with the Rays and the Dodgers, and there's a couple other teams that they know pitching analytics so well that they can fix bad guys. If a guy's got something, they'll take that pitch and they'll make it look good for him. And it was impressive. The kid came out, he was in Boston, couldn't get anybody out. Last night, he's now sporting a 2.18 ERA. I'll have to look up exactly who it was, but the Dodgers.
Was he the starter, or you said he came
No. He was. He actually came in and closed the game.
Oh, okay.
They finished the Dodgers finished with three pitchers who didn't give up a run. They played very well defensively. As I said, they played incredibly well, and it was fun to watch because
Ryan Brazier.
Brazier, right? Sounds like Frazier, but with a B. Brazier is the guy that they brought in, and Brazier had not closed the game. That was his first save for the Dodgers, and he's been 2 weeks into the Dodger blue, and so he got that combat under fire, and he made it work. So good on him. And the Dodgers looked good last night, and so did the Orioles. In fairness, it's fun to watch when you're watching two teams that are that don't screw up, that just play the game well. And there was the pitch, the home run that Taylor hit it wasn't even a bad pitch. He hit an inside cutter, and he turned on it. And look, good on you if you can do that. And he did it, and he got the grand slam. So it wasn't even a bad pitch that the kid hit for a grand slam. But it's why the Dodgers keep winning. They win because they plug and play people. They took out 2 or 3 players and pinch hit the last couple innings, and you're thinking, well, why would you do that? Well, because why do you take Jason Hayward out and pinch hit for him, with somebody else? It works. The guy gets a hit, boom, and then he goes out and plays the outfield, takes Jason Hayward's place. So it works for the Dodgers. Doesn't always work for everybody else, but does for the Dodgers. And in fairness to the Orioles as well, they played very, very good, solid defense last night. And when you do that, you're going to win baseball games. And those are two. I mean, if I have the opportunity to watch a game tonight, that wouldn't be a bad one to watch. Same thing if you want to watch the Rays and the Rangers. They're going to be a fun game to watch as well. So I mean, you don't mind
the Diamondbacks and the Braves is probably a good one.
Oh man, absolutely, absolutely. You want to see that one. I'm still not over the tomahawk chop deal. Okay, drives me crazy. But all right, I can always mute whenever that starts. But and then that chop shop that they built a stadium actually out of. I mean, the stadium used to be in downtown Atlanta. They built it in the outskirts of Atlanta, out in the suburbs, because they quote unquote it's closer to their core audience, right? And it's still traffic is a mess. So I don't see how that was such a big deal to move the stadium out there. But hey, I don't. I'm not in DeKalb County, and I didn't pay for it, so I can't complain. Yeah, that's it. Those are three games that are not a bad watch, and then the Angel game might be fun just because you get to see Ohtani play.
Well, the Angels are definitely hitting.
They are. They had, what was it, 13-11 game the other day?
Yeah, and they came back. They're down 9-3, or so they're definitely hitting the ball. It's just their pitching that's the problem. They do have a top offense in the league, actually.
Yeah. Why is everybody Nola always says a gas can in it? Okay. I was gonna say it's not a gas can, but okay.
He's been good for about 4 runs a game.
Really?
Yeah, it's something about 4. If you look at his pitching logs, 4 is very apparent number.
Maybe it was on the back of a fortune cookie he got.
Now, he is much worse on the road. I'll give him that. Like, a lot of those 4s are in road starts.
Which is surprising because that stadium he plays in at the Bank is a small ballpark. I mean, it's very hitter friendly. You can get a home run there. Really, little wind aided home run. You can get it pretty quickly there. It's not quite as friendly as Houston. Then Houston can close the roof. In Philadelphia, you can't. But that surprises me that the 4 runs comes on the road because, again, that's a tougher pitch. It's tougher to pitch in Philly than it is. Nola cruises and then he walks a couple of guys and gives up a home run. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually late. It's usually late, but the 4 runs, man, it's a thing. It's happened a lot this year.
So what? He gets tired and then gets himself into a bit of a pickle and then serves up a fastball and somebody takes it over the fence.
Yeah, because I've seen him pitch like lights out for 3-4 innings, and then he just has that one inning where it's like, oh, there it all goes.
Well, you used to see Scherzer when he was with the Nationals. Scherzer would just mow everybody. He's striking out everybody, everything's flying. And he would, challenge fastball and a guy hit for a home run. But there wasn't anybody on base, so you figure, okay, well, he'd strike the next 5 guys out. So from that standpoint, it wasn't a problem. And Nola may have fallen into that same thing because Nola used to do the same thing. Nola would be, dominant. He would challenge somebody. The guy hit it out of the ballpark, but there's nobody on base. So no harm, no foul. One run. Perhaps now, and it's a problem that Scherzer had a couple of weeks ago, where you get yourself in a little bit of a jam and you try that ball that you can throw and somebody, hits it over the fence and, that 1 run now is 4 runs or 3 runs or whatever. And so maybe Nola's fallen into that. As you get older, you still have that, you still have the feeling that you get that pitch when you need it. And most of the time, in a case of a Nola or a Scherzer, you can, but there's also those times when you can't. And clearly for Nola, that seems to be an issue that is cropping up more often than I'm sure he would like. but he's still an elite pitcher in the league. So
Oh yeah, he was their ace last season, and he's not just. I look at it like he's probably just having a down year. Is
Yeah.
really how I like. Same with Alek Manoah. Everybody was crapping on him so hard this year, and I said,
why?
like, he was still one of the best starters in his first 2 seasons of his career. So he's having a bad year. He'll get through it.
Right.
And I believe he'll bounce back. Maybe he doesn't have a great season this year, but I'm sure he'll be a lot better next year. He's actually back pitching for the Blue Jays. They're supposed to get Hyunjin Ryu back next week as well.
Oh, that'd be big.
It said late July, so sometime in the next 10 days or so, I would think, unless they change that. But yeah, I bet that's a guy. I bet there's half the people don't even realize he's still in the league. He's been out so long. It's been like 3 seasons, and I always wondered when we got him from the Dodgers. I always said to myself, I was like, why would the Dodgers give up a guy who was such a stud last year? Well, obviously they knew what they were doing because he's played like 30 games in 3 seasons. Maybe.
They know what they're doing. That being said, if he's right, he's nails. If he's right,
It's really good.
And let's hope for the Blue Jays that he's right. I mean, I like to see guys. I mean, he was one of those guys who he just went out and pitched, right? He didn't do a lot of any, wasn't really flashy or anything like that. He just went out, took the ball every 5 days and
Shut guys down.
and shut it out. Yeah. So you want to see some people like that who've had injuries come back and really show that they can play at the level that they can play. So good on him when he comes back. We'll be rooting for him. We talked a lot about the deadline. You're up there with the Jays. The Jays, I think, will be healthy enough to make a run, and they've got the team to be able to do that. Do you think they're going to be buyers at the deadline? And if so, where are they going? They're going to go for an arm, a bat? What do they need?
Yeah, so they'll probably be buyers just because, as we mentioned before, you have the Yankees slipping down now in last. The Red Sox are trying to move up, but yeah, the Blue Jays, they're in third now, but they're 12 games over 500. So even if they have to settle for a wild card spot, they're in very good position to get that right now. And really, I think their biggest issue is probably pitching, mainly in the starting rotation. Their rotation right now, obviously Kevin Gausman is the ace, but Barrios is having a better year, Kikuchi's having a better year, but these guys aren't studs. They know they're getting Hyunjin Ryu back, so that's going to be interesting. He'll definitely have a spot in the rotation, so it'll just depending on how he comes out, because I guess if he does return late July, they'll probably get maybe 2 starts out of him before the deadline to see if they're going to need maybe another arm there. But yeah, I mean, personally, I think they have the best closer in the league, Jordan Romano. I know a lot of people think Josh Hader's the best, but I got to give it to Romano. I've watched this guy for the last 3 seasons, and he's been just as good. So I definitely think the bullpen is pretty solid. They probably could use a few more arms in the bullpen just because,
Everybody good.
Yeah, they have their few solid, they have a good solid core. Like Simber's pretty good, Romano's pretty good, but then on the days those guys can't go, you got some guys in there like Jimmy Garcia, not great. There's a few others in there, so I would go for arms if I was them. They have a top offense in the league.
One of the things that I didn't like in the new rule was the 40, the roster. Expanding the September roster, because I thought that helped a lot of teams getting, you could have a lot of pitchers, and that would save some guys, and that no longer exists. You have a much smaller call up situation that you can in the league this year. So we just talked about your starters. You got Gausman, you got Ryu. Do you have stretch drive pitchers? Do they have that kind of? Do they have? I guess what I'm saying is, do they have the arms that it's going to take to pitch through August, September, and get them into October? I mean, we know Gausman can, we know Ryu can.
Yeah, see, I don't think they do. And that's why I think maybe, getting Ryu is going to help not only with the starting rotation. Let's say he comes back and pitches well. That's not only going to help their starting rotation, but they're going to have to take a guy out. And it's probably going to be Kikuchi. And as much of a gas can Kikuchi was as a starter last year, when they took him out of the rotation and had him pitch out of the bullpen, he was a lot better. And obviously in the offseason, he changed his mechanics completely. Like he's got completely different pitches in his arsenal now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved to the bullpen, and he would be probably their stretch inning kind of guy.
Right. It's funny because a lot of those guys, Jays need Stroman.
Get Stroman back, really. I mean, he's having a great season. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I don't know if they can.
But he wanted to leave the Jays. Why would he come back?
Yeah, it's not necessarily all kinds of. I'll tell you, you may be. Boston has got a ton of arms that are not doing a damn thing for them. So you might be able to stay in the division and get somebody over there. But the problem is everybody at the trade deadline needs exactly the same thing or wants exactly the same thing, and that's a starting pitcher and somebody in the bullpen. So you gotta. Sometimes the best thing to do is to try to make that trade before the deadline if you can get it in. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that as we go forward. But plenty to talk about soccer-wise tomorrow because we'll be on the eve of the Women's World Cup. We will be on the day of the MLS All-Star Game with Chelsea, and by that time we'll probably give you some lineups at that point because we'll know a little bit closer to what's going on. And, we'll get ready for the fun stuff that's going to start in Miami with Messi and the boys on Friday as we cruise on down. Always fun to have Ryan in the house. He's a good guy for all kinds of information. And we're gonna get him in here one day where he can chat with us. We don't mind reading his work in the chat area, but we want to hear from him as well. Let's talk about where we can find out stuff that you're doing there, buddy, and where to find it.
You can get my plays at bigal.com and pickadvisor.com. I got 2 MLB up for tonight, including my American League total of the month, and I got 2 Copa Sudamericana plays in the qualifiers. I also did have a Champions League play, but that one's about 10 minutes.
That was over
from being finished. Yeah, so can't get in on that Champions League play by now. But
now Rise with you in where? I mean, I know he's with you on one of the groups.
Yeah, Rye, you can find him on pickadvisor.com as well.
It's Rye says for you and he tonight. Let's cash some tickets.
And he does his NASCAR report for the Insiders Room.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, you can always catch him on the weekend doing his thing with the guys, Joey Tron, Dan Kaiser. There's a few other in there that I don't know personally myself, but great.
They know what they're talking about. They got their Daytona stripes, so they're ready to go.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, here's what's going to happen. We will be back tomorrow, which is a Wednesday. As I said, we'll be able to talk about the MLS and Chelsea All-Star Game from DC. We'll be able to talk about what's coming up in the Women's World Cup. We'll give you a little handicapping on that. We'll talk about Lionel Messi. And you think they're going to – just a quick something to keep an eye out for. Would one of the prop bets on Messi be how many minutes would he play?
I don't know if that's something – I don't know. I don't think that's a prop that they would really give.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't know what they consider. What would be a considered prop bet in that. But
yeah, I'm not because I know like with soccer you can take somebody who you think is gonna score a goal,
sure,
but might be on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
and you can full on bet on them thinking maybe they'll come in the last 30 minutes and score that goal, and that's where I'm getting the value on it. But you can also take the bet, and there's usually a box that says void if the player doesn't start. So I don't really know. Like, I know you can bet on time periods that goals are scored in, so like 10 to 20th minute, 20 to 30th minute, but actual players and the amount of time they're going to play, I've never seen something like that myself.
Okay.
Personally.
No, I was just curious because I thought it might be interesting just to see how long he's involved in the play.
Well, it is a great question, Jim, in a world where we can bet on how long the national anthem is going to be in the Super Bowl. So, or if Shakira and J-Lo are going to twerk during the halftime show. So I totally understand where you're coming from. With
It was from a prop bet. To me, that would have been a fun one. How many jerseys does he go through? That's. Now, there's an unconfirmed report, and I'm not. I just don't want to drag this out any further, but there is an unconfirmed report, which I will attempt to confirm, that some fool paid over $100,000 for a ticket to this game on Friday in Lauderdale.
Wow.
The average ticket price for that game right now is $475. That's a little pricey for the normal Inter Miami ticket. So yeah.
I'm gonna say the same thing I said yesterday. This is still one of the worst teams in the MLS.
Well, you're not lying. So
and I said when I was asked when Lorenzo Insigne came to Toronto what it meant for the team, and I said the same thing back then. I said
selling jerseys.
It's a great signing, but their problem is defense, so it's not really good. The signing doesn't help them that much. And you're going to see the same thing with Miami in this, end of the season as he gets himself accustomed with the people he's playing with.
Well, how many times have we seen that in the NBA, right? They'll sign a scorer, and you're going, that's great. Now they'll only lose by 20 points instead of 40.
Still don't get a guy that plays defense.
Nobody's playing defense, so you can get all the scores you want.
Get a 3-point shooter. That'll fix it.
See James Harden. It's like
I hear him and Westbrook want to team up again.
Why? Please, why? No, don't start it now.
I know Ryan Cape's loving him. He hates Harden being on the 76ers, so he's like, get the hell out of here.
He wants Harden off the Sixers, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's got Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid plays defense. So I don't know. The Sixers are a conundrum to me.
Who knows what Harden's a conundrum. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, that's the truth. There's a lot of nutcases.
He wants a team where he can win a championship, but also fly to Vegas on the off night by himself, go party at the club, and then meet up with the team the next night for the next.
So he's like the Neymar of Neymar going to birthday parties, and Harden needs to go. Okay, I get it.
See, there you go. Right, Cape from his mouth. Harden needs to go.
We put it up there for those of you who didn't get to see it. There you go. Harden's out. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Well, all right. Look, I already said goodbye once, so let me do it again. From Amadeus, I'm Jim. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Enjoy. Have a lot of fun today. Be safe out there. Okay. All right.